known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers best bet or daily package for only $2.
We are live, and it is Tuesday, June 21st. Wager Talk Today, live noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, every Monday through Friday right here on Wager Talk TV, and of course, archived 24/7, 365 for your viewing pleasure. And don't forget your listening pleasure on numerous podcast apps as well, as while you're hitting the beach this summer or cruising around town, listen to Wager Talk Today, and also the great shows here, including First Pitch, 1:45 Eastern today on Tuesday as well. I am Steve Merrill, filling in for the Prez, and that is my co-host, as always, rock steady Teddy Covers. Teddy, solid show on Tuesday. A lot of baseball today and all week because it is quiet time. It's baseball season for the next 2 months until football begins in late August, but there's a lot of money to be made on a daily basis. And today's a good day to make some money at WagerTalk.com because it is $2 Tuesday, which means you get strong best bets from a select capper for just $2. In fact, it's a 5%er from Adam Trigger, who's going to be our first guest today. Normally that play is $35. It's just $2 because it's $2 Tuesday. Adam Trigger joins us in a few moments to talk baseball. He's got a big 5%er. And don't forget about the sister site, sportsmemo.com as well, where it's actually $1.67 Tuesday because it's 3 for $5. You get Rocky Atkinson, my man Rocky from the NASCAR days, Pure Lock and Mikey Sports. Get some MLB best bets, 3 for $5 at sportsmemo.com. But as I mentioned, we're going to start off with Adam Trigger in a few moments. He's going to look at Giants, Braves, D-backs, Padres. You've got a big game breakdown with the Blue Jays, White Sox in between. And then we get Tokyo Brandon. He's going to give us some Japanese baseball along with Dodgers, Reds, former MLB scout. He'll look at both MLB, Japanese baseball. Then, of course, Dave Sharapan from the Las Vegas Strip. But, Teddy, before we get to all of that, learn anything yesterday on Monday in the world of sports or betting?
So we gotta start with this. Football doesn't start in late August, man. Football starts August 4th. We got about 6 weeks right here. So it's not that long. Yeah. You know, it's summer. Yes, it is quieter at this time of year. And frankly, you know, for those of us that do this year round every day, you need a little bit of a break. And it's poker season. You know, my buddy cashed in the 1,500 freeze out, his second WSOP cash. I was real proud of him. Went down to the new venue over at Bally's in Paris a little bit over the last couple of days. Prez obviously coming into town to play World Series of Poker. Marco's going to be playing in the senior event on Wednesday. I believe both guys are playing in the senior event. Not the toughest bracelet to win. I'll just leave it at that. Of course, I'm not. I got my NFL win report due this week. But poker season here in Vegas, a lot of the old-time pros like Prez, like Marco, still think they can play. Should be around. Yeah, exactly. Keep dreaming, Prez. Also, one more thing I learned last night. All right, I keep trying to become a hockey fan. I've tried 50 times. Hockey is boring, dude. I watched the 7-0 game. It was boring. I watched the 6-2 game last night. It was boring. It's not my sport. It's not what I want to see. And to say, oh, hockey's like more exciting than basketball. Basketball, at least a team has a chance to come back. You know, we've seen 20-point comebacks here in the postseason. I lost a big ticket on one when Memphis did it against Minnesota. Hockey, they don't come back, dude. It's boring. Flat out. That's what I learned last night. What about you, Steve?
I learned that I'm undefeated in hockey this season. I put a rare NHL selection up for free yesterday on my page on WagerTalk.com, Teddy, and it was Tampa Bay. I just couldn't pass it up. I'm not a hockey. I used to be a huge hockey fan. Let me clarify that. I was a big Capitals fan in the late '80s, early '90s, as you know, until they got really, really bad. And I kind of lost interest in the 2000s, and they got good again. But I just couldn't pass up the situation. You know, Tampa back-to-back world champs. They played a tight game one. A lot of people liked them in the bounce back. I probably would have liked them in the bounce back game two as well. I didn't really pay much attention to it. But when they lost 7-0 the other night, it did catch my eye. You've got the two-time world champs off a blowout loss back home down 0-2. It's an angle you and I know works very well in the NBA. And my takeaway there is that it does transfer to other sports. So pick 'em price, one of the best teams in hockey the past few years, down 0-2 off a blowout loss. It just seemed too easy, which concerns me, but I guess it wasn't. And I actually put that up as a free play because I don't release hockey on a daily basis, so I'm not going to obviously charge clients for it. But yet another reason to check out WagerTalk.com. A lot of free plays up there on a daily basis. I put a baseball play up for free last night and also a hockey play for the first time all season. I'll probably retire now undefeated this season in NHL. So hockey served me well last night, Teddy. It might not have been pretty, but it cashed.
It's funny you say that because I just put up a week 1 NFL as a free play. And it's one of those situations where, like, why would you bet a game in the NFL in June that doesn't get played till September? There's only one reason. Because you ain't going to get the line in September that you can get right now. So you can check that out over at the Wager Talk free pay page with all kinds of free plays from all the cappers.
And don't forget, we got a little bit of football info here on Wager Talk TV. There's a weekly USFL show. Teddy's done some NFL videos with Drew Martin, also opening line reports the past few weeks. So check out Wager Talk TV this summer for some archive shows if you're jonesing for some football, which Teddy is correct, is less than 2 months away. A little bit of preseason, but the meat of the schedule is that last week of August. And speaking of August, don't forget, folks, we'll be out there the week before to sign up for the contest, August 19th to 21st, WagerCon Part 2 at the Westgate. We'll have more details the next couple of weeks here on events and other things going on, but the majority of it will be that weekend, Saturday the 20th of August. So pencil that in, start looking for flights if you're interested in joining us in Vegas. One man that I think will be there, Teddy. Yeah.
Oh, the key is just make sure everybody has the dates. It's the 20th. It's a Friday night and the Saturday when 19th, the events are going to be Friday over at the Westgate. Yeah, the 19th and 20th. Yeah. So if you're going to come in town, now's the time to get some tickets, get your hotel room. There will be Wager Talk events.
Yeah, there was some talk about panel all day Sunday on the 21st, but I'm not sure exactly what we're doing on the 21st now. So once again, might want to leave late Sunday night if possible, just to stick around Sunday. But we'll have exact itinerary. But yeah, Saturday the 20th, 19th, and Friday, probably some stuff as well. Anyway, pencil that in. We'll have details in the coming week or two in detail. And Adam Trigger, our first guest, I'm hoping will be out there. I think, Adam, you made the March event. Teddy, of course, is out there all the time. And I'll be out there as well this August for WagerCon Part 2. Adam Trigger, welcome to the show. Have you got your plans locked up for the trip in August?
Oh, yeah, I'll be out there. Can't wait. The first, March was fun. But I think I have a feeling this one's going to be even better. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Except for maybe the fact that it'll be like 120 degrees. I don't know. That's usually Vegas in August can be aggressive. But other than that, I think it's going to be a good time.
Yes, and March is probably a little bit more comfortable as far as the weather, but we'll be inside, Teddy.
Yeah, for what it's worth, August is sometimes better than July. And June, and this has been as comfortable a June as I've seen out here. I mean, it's been downright chilly out there.
Yeah, I know most of the conferences Teddy and I did back in the 2000s were always July. It could definitely get a little warm in July. So I've been out there numerous times. But once again, all those places got nice AC, right? They earn some money in those casinos, and they keep it nice and cool for the customers. So, yeah, once again, August 19th and 20th, mark the calendar if you'd like to join us. Adam, you got a big 5%er for $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com and MLB tonight. Let's give the viewers and listeners a little tease of your MLB handicapping prowess here. And let's start off with the San Francisco-Atlanta game. Giants obviously outperformed last year, much better than expected. They were a solid team all season. Braves started really slow last year. They were below 500, I believe, in August. Ended up winning the whole darn thing. Back-to-back NL title games. They won the World Series finally last year. Braves have been red hot the past few weeks. They did have that little blip after, 14 straight. They lost back-to-back games, but now they've gotten back on track. 8-1 the last two. Still a buy sign for Atlanta, or are they starting to cool off?
Well, first, Steve, yeah, on the $2 capper today. I have a 5% play up. And the Giants are a 4% play for me. So you basically get my entire baseball card for $2, and I'm 17-7 in my last 24. So baseball's going well right now. I'm playing the Giants plus 1.5. This price finally got low enough for me to jump in. I took it at minus like 128. I think it's in the 125 to 130 range right now. But yeah, I'm looking to go against the Braves here. So they've run up this 16-2 record in their last 18 games, primarily against the worst teams in the league. I mean, if you really look at who they played in that run, all bottom of the barrel teams. And now they get the Giants who, I went on money shots with Kelly and Megan yesterday, talked about the Giants being a fade, because I really do think that this team is majority a fade for me. But in this spot, I actually think the Giants are excellent value, getting +1.5 on the road, because Spencer Strider, in my opinion, is the overvalued commodity here. He's racking up the strikeouts. He's looked good in his last couple starts, but if you look at his last 4 starts, 4 terrible teams. He pretty much wiped out the Nats and the Pirates, and now all of a sudden he's close to a $2 favorite. It's a guy that has 2 pitches. I'm just not buying him as this large of a favorite here. Kenley Jansen and Will Smith both had really high leverage spots last night, and they wiggled their way out of jams. But the Giants were very close to blowing that game open off of both of them. I think if the Giants see either of those guys tonight, they break through. And I love my +1.5 when I'm getting it with the road team, get that extra at bat. So Giants +1.5, 4%er for me today at WagerTalk.
So, Adam, you did an excellent job talking about when to catch the falling knife on your last appearance here on WagerTalk today. I want to ask you about talking about backing some cold teams in some tough spots. You called the end of this Brave streak when they had won 14 in a row and lost in Chicago. But this is a Giants team whose bats have gone cold. What have they scored? 3 or less 4 times their last 5 ball games, 2 or less in 3 of those contests. And you don't win a whole lot of games when you're scoring 2 or 3 runs in MLB. Are you worried at all that the Giants' cold bats are going to hold you back tonight?
Well, Teddy, they had their chances last night. And obviously, listen, 7 innings of Max Fried, there's not many teams that are going to generate a ton of scoring opportunities when they're facing him for 6-7 innings. But late in the game, they got base runners. They hit the ball hard. They had their chances, and they just could not get that final sort of death blow. They had the bases loaded, no outs in the 8th inning last night, and then they had guys on against Kenley Jansen. So, I know I'm going to need a timely hit here. I know I'm going to need something out of Anthony DeScalfani, who comes off the DL, and I'm just going to bank on him, giving me between 4 and 5 innings and not killing us here. But I really think that there's reason to believe the Giants can break through against Atlanta's bullpen after last night. And I just don't buy Spencer Strider. As a starter, he's got 2 pitches. And, teams are going to get second, third time through the order. They're going to figure him out. So I think we're going to get a timely hit or 2 from the Giants, and we've got the run to work with. So, last 10 games for the Giants, they've won 7 of them. Their 3 losses are by 1 run. If they, as long as we get a 1-run game here, we're good either way. So I really like the Giants on the run line tonight.
That's Adam Trigger, WagerTalk.com, giving you a free 4% best bet. That's a $25 play by itself for free on a $1.50 dog right there. You can only imagine what you get with the 5% best bet. You only have to spend $2 to find out. Look, he just gave you a 4% play for free. Invest the $2 and get the 5% best bet from Adam Trigger, WagerTalk.com, $2 Tuesday. And Adam, while we got you, let's look at one other baseball game for tonight. The Padres have lost 3 of their last 4. They're just 5-5 their last 10, and they're still tied with the Dodgers for first place in the NL West because the Dodgers are just 5-5 their last 10. San Diego just a small favorite though tonight at home, $1.30 favorite against a weaker Arizona squad that's put up just 1 run in 2 of their last 3 games, but they've put up 7 runs in their other 3 games on each side. So very bipolar team in Arizona. How are you attacking this one?
So this isn't going to make my official card, but I think there's some value on the Diamondbacks here. The Padres are a little bit of a mess right now. They've had some COVID run through their clubhouse. Bob Melvin's still not back with the team. I think he returns maybe later this week. They've had another couple of assistant coaches not with the team. And then Manny Machado goes down. So you bring CJ Abrams back, who's been awful at the major league level this year. I think he went 0 for 3 in his return last night. But for me, Steve, Zach Gallen is my guy. I've been betting on this guy since he got traded, since he was with the Marlins, and they kind of surprisingly traded him, even though they turned him into Jazz Chisholm. I love Gallen, and he had a little bit of a bounce back last time out after a couple bad starts. He pitched well against the Reds, 7 innings pitched, 2 runs allowed, 2.91 ERA this year, 0.98 WHIP. And I still think he's one of the best pitchers in the National League. So you give me Gallen at a plus price. Maybe you look to the first 5 with the Diamondbacks if to bet on Gallen. But I think Arizona's a little undervalued in this spot. Sean Manaea, great April, but since then he's had around a 4 ERA and he's given up 3 earned runs or more in 3 of his last 5 starts. So I just think Diamondbacks offer some value at the plus price. And I think you could look at them first 5 as well, because I really do think Gallant's a better starter here.
So in his last 5 starts, Gallant's been hit pretty hard a couple of times. And it's an Arizona team that, as you mentioned, scored 1 last night. I cashed an under. I used the under in Arizona, San Diego yesterday in the big game breakdown, and that was able to cash, taking advantage of San Diego's depleted lineup without Machado, and taking advantage of an Arizona lineup that, while you like them a little bit, I don't trust the D-backs to hit the baseball all that well. Would you consider an under for this game tonight? Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing the total of 7. Do you see either of these two teams breaking out offensively? Do you think Arizona's going to take care of business because their offense gets going, or is because Gallant shuts them down? Because I'm looking at under in this one.
Teddy, I mean, the under 7s are tough. It doesn't take much to, put that in jeopardy, especially with the extra innings rules the way they are. I've kind of man, you just don't have much room for error with an under 7. Of course, I really like Gallant, so it would make me look at the under because, Manaea has been decent and he was good against the Diamondbacks earlier this year. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little offense in this game. And again, I just think from a value perspective, I like Gallant at the plus price, maybe first 5. I haven't checked at what the plus a half of run in the first 5 is, but if that was reasonable with Gallant, I think I would look that way, or even just, Diamondbacks first 5. But the Diamondbacks have been a sneaky team. They're better than I think they've gotten credit for this year. Their win total going into the season, the books had it up in the high 60s after they won just 51 games last year. And I know that the very public bet was Diamondback season win total under. And if it goes like this, that's not going to get there because
looking at those first 5 inning lines, you can get Arizona plus a half, minus 130 versus minus 190 on the plus 1.5 for the full game. And then on the first 5 inning over-under guys is 3.5. Full game is 7 under. So you're getting half the total there for the first 5 and taking out the uncertainty there of the bullpens and, of course, the extra innings, as you mentioned, Adam. So, by the way, we're going to talk more about this game in an hour and a half. MLB First Pitch, Dave Koken, myself, Steve Merrill, and Drew Martin. This will be one of the 3 highlight games that we break down in depth. For more information, check that out, 1:45 Eastern, First Pitch every day here on this channel. Adam, $2 Tuesday, once again, a strong 5% best bet on a 17-7, 71% run. Tell people why they should get that play. It's pretty obvious to me, but just one more time, $2 Tuesday, Adam Trigger.
Yeah, we're rolling in baseball right now. It's $2, 5%er. I think you should play them both. I gave out Giants plus 1.5 as a 4%er for free. So you pretty much get my whole card today for just $2. And yeah, we've been rolling in baseball, and I think we're going to continue to cash tickets. So go over to WagerTalk on my page, $2 Tuesday, 5% MLB play.
Fantastic. $2 Tuesday. Adam Trigger, WagerTalk.com. Thanks, Adam. And Teddy, we're going to keep it with baseball. A little 30 seconds here. We'll be right back with Big Game Breakdown. Teddy covers MLB style.
All right. Take care, guys.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
It is time for today's Big Game Breakdown. Let's go to Chicago and talk about the White Sox and the Blue Jays. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, we're seeing Toronto, let's call them minus 130 on the Blue Jays. Total 9, juice to the over. And certainly it's a banged-up White Sox team right now. Grandel's on the DL. Jimenez on the IL. Machado just went on the IL. Hendricks is on the IL. But did it get Tim Anderson? back in the lineup yesterday. He made a difference. Here's what Andrew Vaughn, the guy hitting behind him, said. He's the spark plug of all spark plugs. The man can flat out hit. He gets on base dang near all the time. He did last night as the White Sox scored 8 runs in that ball game. It's not like Toronto's not hitting either. And their OPS against righties isn't as good against lefties. True. But the White Sox lineup has been hitting the baseball of late. They scored 5 or more in 8 of their last 10. It's nice and hot and humid in Chicago. And I've been betting against Dylan Cease. All right. The 3 starts this month, 100-plus pitches in all 3 of those. And he hasn't recorded an out in the 6th twice. He didn't make it out of the 5th. He's not eating up innings. He's allowed, 6 runs or more 3 times in his last 4 home start. And the Jays are raking too. 17 runs scored in their last 2 ball games. Gausman's been let up twice in his last 3 starts. Lots of concerning metrics on Kevin Gassman right now. So put it all together. We've already seen money come on the over. I agree with that money. Look for the White Sox and Blue Jays, much like last night, to play a relatively high-scoring affair in the 90-degree heat in Chicago. Pick the White Sox Blue Jays over the total. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Yeah, never going to argue with a Blue Jays game over the total. This is a Toronto team coming in on the season. Everyone thought it was going to be just lights out offensively. Kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they have started to make a move in that AL East. Very competitive AL East. There's still 12 games behind your New York Yankees, Teddy Cover, even though just 4-6 are last 10, so they haven't cooled off a bit. But White Sox are an interesting team to me, Teddy. That I know. He's a Mets guy, by the way.
New York Yankees. I was a Met, so I'm a Mets fan.
I know you're a Mets
up,
guy.
And the Yankees are winning World Series, and it was awful. There was no joy, and I hated the Yankees. So, it's not, but my last day of fanhood, I think, was the day that Vince Coleman threw the firecracker into the crowd. That was the end of that.
Was that before or after he got run over by the tarp? You remember that when he had the leg injury from the tarp injury? My goodness, Vince Coleman, blast from the past from the mid '80s there. And, that's something. Now, I know you're a Mets fan. I'm messing with you. That was my Prez moment before we get to Tokyo, Brandon. I'll give you a Prez moment here. Can't make it too easy for you today on Tuesday. Flex Tuesday, Dave Sharapan will be the flexing for us. Prez isn't here. It's all Sharapan. But before we get to that, going to bring on Tokyo Brandon, another guy who will be at WagerTalk Con Part 2 in August, the 19th to the 21st. And he made his tickets. He got his tickets maybe faster than anybody when that was announced because he is flying farther than anybody. I'm pretty much, Brandon, I'll pretty much put that at -500 that you'll be making the longest trip of anybody at the conference this year. And if anybody comes farther, even more power to him. Maybe we'll get an Australian visitor or two. But Tokyo, welcome to the show. Looking forward to actually going to live up to your name today. We're going to get to some Japanese baseball with maybe the best nickname in all of sports, but I'll save that for just a moment. First, you're an MLB scout, so you know your MLB as well. Tell us about this Dodgers team, Brandon. We talked about the Padres earlier. I mentioned how both teams are 5-5 their last 10. They're still tied for first place. San Diego's actually played 4 more games, 2 more in the won, 2 more in the loss. But take on the Dodgers going forward here, and obviously the Reds were a team that were terrible out of the gate. 3-19. They lost 20 out of 21. They've actually played respectable baseball the last couple of months. Are they a live dog tonight against LA?
Yes, I will be at the event. I will finally get to meet you guys in person, so that'll be nice. Let's talk about the Dodgers and the Reds. Respectable. The Reds have been respectable. I don't think respectable is good enough to beat the Dodgers, even minus Mookie Betts. The line here is anywhere between -170 and -180, which is really hard to play it that way. But here's an old gambler's trick you can use. You can bet the -1 alt run line. That is basically if the Dodgers win by 1, it's a push, and if they win by 2, you win your bet. So it's a little bit less risky than the run line -1.5. And if your book doesn't offer a -1, you can take 1 unit of your bet and put half the unit on the money line and half the unit on the run line, and that's the same thing as a -1. So that's how I'm going to play this game, because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They're going to smack the crap out of the ball even without Mookie Betts. Tyler Mahle is not a bad pitcher. I don't think Gonsolin gets the credit that he deserves, who's starting for the Dodgers. Gonsolin has a 0.82 whip. and in his career, he's held the Reds to a 195 batting average. Mahle is not bad, but even without Gonsolin, I think they could start Jose Lima and win this game, the Dodgers. So any way you can bet them, and I'm taking the more digestible way, which is a -1 alt run line.
So I got to ask you, Brandon, you said the Dodgers are the Dodgers. The Dodgers are 8-10 in their last 18 games. They've lost during that span. -328, -343, -247, -176. They lost as -170, -124. They lost -162, -191, -152, -262, and -173. If you've been betting the Dodgers for the last 3 weeks, you've gone broke. All right. Are the Dodgers the Dodgers right now? Are we worried at all about the fact that the Dodgers have cost their backers a small fortune in the last 3 weeks? Or are the Dodgers just fine? The Mookie's out. It's no big deal. It's still the Dodgers. We don't worry about this stuff. That these losses are going to happen. And even when you lose with them repeatedly as $2 and $3 favorites, it's still the Dodgers. It's all good.
Yep. Well, if this was -360, I probably wouldn't bet it, but it's right at the spot where I can make it a digestible line, which is the -1, which is about -160. So I can take that. The Dodgers have not been winning their bets, but they haven't been playing the Reds every day either. So this Reds team is terrible. I'm sorry, but they're just not good. And it's just a different class. I mean, Gonsolin doesn't get the credit he deserves. His season whip is 0.82. I mean, I just don't see the Reds being able to do any damage here. And I think that Dodgers lineup is the Dodgers lineup. They're gonna get their runs. So -1 it is.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a step down in class. They've played the White Sox, the Giants, the Angels, who've heated up finally, and then the Indians, the Guardians in their last 4. So it's a step down in class. And by the way, about that one run, Dodgers winning by more than 1, I've talked about that for 2 years now in the shows. 65 games this year, guys. They've only won by exactly 4 times. That means 61 of the 65 Dodger games, they've either won by 2 or more, or they've lost outright. And it's been 19 straight games since they've won by 1. So even during this cold streak here that Teddy talked about, as you said, Teddy, they either lose outright as $2 or $3 favorites, or they win by margin. Their last win by 6, 3, 2, 2, and 3 over the last couple of weeks. It's just an incredible angle that keeps working. Yep. And so, yeah, if you're going to play the Dodgers tonight, you play at least -1, 1.5, or you take the Reds outright, which probably no one's in a hurry to do. All right, Tokyo. Prez isn't here now. Now, Prez, what's that?
I just got to jump in because you're like, oh, the Dodgers played all these good teams. The Dodgers are 1-5 against the Guardians and Pirates during this span. All right, so it's not like it's all good.
The Pirates are definitely their Achilles heel. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But this isn't the Pirates.
And I will say, Teddy, in that regard, though, and what would make you nervous tonight is they do have a tendency to play down to their opponent, though, because we have seen them lose, as you said, as big favorites quite often this year. So the question is, are they focused tonight after
not
losing?
That bad.
True.
I think if it was -210, I'd probably lay off. But if you can get a -1 at -160, I think it's palpable.
I like what you did too,
Brandon. The other way. I wish you all the luck in the world.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, what Brandon did was, if you don't have the -1, as he mentioned, you can make your own -1 run line by taking half a unit on the money line, half at -1.5. It makes it -1 as well. You get a push instead of a loss that way in the 1.5. All right, what I was going to say is if Prez was here right now, we would have wasted the next 5 minutes by him giggling over this nickname, asking you numerous questions about it. I'll just ask what I do have to ask if there's any history behind the Ham Fighters, but you're giving us a little Japanese baseball here. And the mighty Ham Fighters, Nippon, I guess, is playing the Eagles. Rakuten. Yes. Anyway, Eagles, Ham Fighters, Japanese baseball, all years.
Yeah. I wish it was the Ham Fighters because that would be a really cool nickname. But actually, Japanese baseball is based on, it used to be company leagues. And the company sponsoring this team is Nippon Ham. It's actually a ham company. So Nippon Ham Fighters is the nickname. So, yeah. And then Rakuten is basically the Amazon of Japan. They're the biggest online retailer here in Japan. So Rakuten and Nippon Ham. So we got the Eagles and the Fighters today, and The fighters, I don't know if anyone remembers Tsuyoshi Shinjo, but he played for the Giants. He was the New York Giants. He was in the World Series for the Mets probably 15 years ago or so. He's the coach of the Nippon Ham Fighters, and he's doing really unorthodox things, trying to shake things up. He's bringing guys, he's calling them up and starting them right away. He's starting relievers. He's doing a lot of unorthodox things, and it's not working. He's in last place right now with this team. Rakuten is a solid team. They're a championship-built team. However, the Nippon Ham Fighters today have a pitcher named Kato. He's going out there. His last 26 innings, he hasn't given up one run on the season. His whip is 0.84. So I have a theory here that if the bad team can hold the good team down, then we're looking at an under, because the bad team is bad because they can't score. So I looked at this line and it was 6. So this is a client play I released. It's a 3% client play, but I'm going on the under 6 here. Another little gem of information here is these teams have played 10 times so far this season, and 7 of them have gone under 6. So I'm all over the under 6. In this game today, it's a 3% client play, which I put out earlier, probably about a half hour ago.
So the name that Prez gets all excited about is the Swallows. Every time you talk about the Swallows,
Yes.
we get 3 minutes from Prez about it.
I always have to remind him it's not an adult film reference. It's a bird.
I'm the PG host, boys. I keep it family oriented here on the show. Damn fighters.
Let's talk about the 6, because you don't see a lot of 6s in MLB. Do you see a lot of 6s in Japanese baseball? And the long term on the 6s, are they unders? Are they overs? How's the database look on 6s?
Yes.
In the baseball in Japan.
The average game score in Japan so far this year of every game played is 5.7. So 6 is actually right about average, whereas as opposed to MLB, which is between 7 and 8, right? So in Japan, there's not a lot of power hitters. You haven't seen a lot of power hitters from Japan go to Major League, right? Maybe Hideki Matsui, but Hideki Matsui was like Barry Bonds in Japan, and when he went over to the U.S., he was just a good hitter. So you got a bunch of Yu Darvishes, Otanis, and Masahiro Tanaka's pitching, and you have a bunch of weak hitters. So the game scores in Japan are quite low. So 6 is right about where they're all coming out this season. A lot of 5.5s and 6s. You rarely see an 8. Sometimes you'll see a 7. So yes, the game scores are a lot lower here. 6 is about average, and these two teams are just not producing runs against each other. The average game score between these two is right around 5.1. So that, plus the fact that we have one pitcher who hasn't given up a run in 26 innings, I just see this going under 6 here.
Yeah, I always talk about diversification in the financial markets, and also the sports betting markets are so similar. If you're looking to diversify, Tokyo Brandon is the guy to do it with. First of all, number one all sports profit 2021. Korean baseball, he's up about, almost 30 games in 2022. Japanese baseball, you're up an incredible amount as well. And 62% is not too bad. And look, this is sports Teddy and I are not releasing. So you get a package with Tokyo, you get a package with Teddy, myself, Steve Merrill. That's how you diversify. And Tokyo, tell them, Brandon, once again, why you should go to WagerTalk.com and check out your page.
Because WagerTalk is really nice in the fact that the non-American sports, they let me price them at $9 every day. So my Japanese and my Korean plays go out at $9. And today I have a 4% best bet in Japanese baseball. It's a straight up money line available in every book. And it's a 4% best bet for $9, which I released about a half an hour ago. The line hasn't moved much. So go grab that at my WagerTalk page. I'm also winning 62% of my Korean baseball and 60% of my Japanese baseball so far this season as well. The last 365 days, I'm plus 265 units as well.
Yeah, I figured WagerTalk had the time change confused because you guys are 13 hours ahead of us. I thought maybe they thought you were 13 hours behind because it's still $9 Monday, even though it's Wednesday in Japan now for Tokyo Brandon. But that's a fantastic offer. Korean, Japanese baseball, $9. Tokyo Brandon,
every day.
WagerTalk.com. Every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yes,
I love it. We'll see you out in Vegas in August. Brandon, thanks for joining us. Tokyo Brandon, WagerTalk.com. Japanese and Korean baseball expert. And we have our softball expert on next, Teddy. I don't think we have any softball lines to talk about today, but we talked MLB. We talked Japanese baseball. We could definitely talk in-depth some high-level softball with Dave Sharapan from the Las Vegas Strip. And Dave's another guy I'm hoping will be there in August unless he leaves town, which I would not blame him in the least. But I'm pretty sure he'll be there in late August because it'll be getting close to football. Dave, Teddy says football starts early August. Technically, he's right. Preseason for me hasn't been quite the same the last few years. Not as much depth as I used to find in the 90s, but we'll pick our spots. So definitely less than 2 months away. In the meantime, Dave, what's going on this summer? MLB, a little bit of NHL, I guess. Any thoughts from last night?
Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, good to see both of you. Second of all, it's good the Prez isn't here for any drama. We don't want any drama, even though Tokyo Brandon's dropping the Swallows thing. I had no idea there was even a team named Swallows. So that was news to me, but I can see why Prez likes it. Anyhow, yeah, we got a lot going on this summer. Teddy's right, though. Like, football's being discussed in books, in the other side of the counter, all over the place. I mean, everybody's kind of looking at season wins. There's news today coming out that Deshaun Watson's maybe settling some cases, and that may affect the number because if he actually plays, they're going to be better than if he doesn't. So things like that. Yeah, summer last week, I drove 2 hours each way to St. George a couple different days instead of staying up there getting a hotel like I should have. Drove back and forth and did a softball tournament. We got some other things planned this summer, depending on where we qualify for. So I'll be coaching as well. And then, yeah, MLB Network. We did the pregame show on Apple TV on Friday. We're, trying to do a little bit more there. So we're talking about baseball, which is why I wore the Pirates stuff today. Did you guys see this O'Neal Cruz, 6'7" shortstop for the Pirates? 6'7" and an arm.
Tall
he
stuff.
threw the ball across. He threw the ball across the diamond. It's the hardest infield throw of the season by anyone.
97-mile-an-hour fastball. Yeah.
Come on.
And of course, the first base, the shortstop's 6'7", the first baseman's 5'10", right? I mean, it's like one of these bizarro
world, right?
in Pittsburgh. Yeah. That's what the Pirates will do. But real quick, before we do anything else, the president here to ask about NHL. I want to ask about NHL. Look, I tried to watch Game 2. You'd fall asleep watching that game. I tried to watch Game 3. I think you'd fall asleep more watching that game. It's 6-2 in the second, and that game's over. There's no comebacks in hockey from that. It's just garbage time the rest of the way. 1, defend your sport. And 2, what happens in Game 4?
So
Your sport.
The build up to this, there's so many good games along the way. And then you get to the Stanley Cup final. Sometimes this happens. Teams literally get down a few goals, gets a little loose. You're setting the tone for the next game. And that's what happens. In a 7-0 game in Game 2, Tampa was like, look, we got this high altitude. We're down a bunch of goals. I'm surprised he didn't pull Vasilevsky. But at the time, when I heard Chelios and Messier talk about it, it made sense. Can't show them any weakness. We're not pulling our goalie. Well, that's what they showed in Game 3. We got our goalie, and we beat them. I think we got a series, Teddy. I think it's, the home team may win every game. I don't know if Tampa can beat them up there. But I don't know if Colorado's going to win a game in Tampa. I'm leaning Tampa again, Game 4. I got positions on both sides. I got the exactas, so I'm just trying to balance it and maximize the profit, betting the individual games. Total's gone over 3 straight times. He's putting up a 6 again. The bad guys that everybody been betting under every single game. 6 under 30. This is closed. Hasn't won. One of these games is going under. Most likely, it's Game 4. Tampa wins a close one. It stays under. Could be dead wrong again, and the game flies over.
Yeah, Dave, I was going to say I've released my only hockey play yesterday as a free play at WagerTalk.com. The Tampa spot was just too good to pass up, even though I don't follow it real close. Thought it's interesting now. It's still pick 'em at FanDuel, but a lot of spots do have minus 115 Colorado, so it's actually juiced a little bit towards the Avalanche now for the bounce back. I'm with you, though, on the 6. I mean, you're getting 6 to the over now in this series. 7 or more is the only way you lose. I know that's happened the last 2, but you've got to figure the defense shows up. And usually games 4 kind of decide these series. You got to figure they're going to bring balls to the wall from both defenses.
Yep. Yeah, that's the way you have to handicap it. and then 2 or 3 power plays in the first period, and they both score on a power play. Colorado's power play has been lethal. It's almost 50%. 55-0, not 1-5, which is crazy. So if Tampa takes a couple penalties, Colorado does score, and vice versa. Tampa can score 5-on-5, but they can score on a power play. So, yeah, the totals have been interesting because I think a lot of sharp people have been on the unders. I was on the under in game 2 and was like, all right, 7-0. We got a shutout from one team, and we still couldn't get that thing under.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sometimes you can handicap it perfect and lose too.
Yeah, the 7-0s when you have the under are how bad a beat it, Dave. It's no joke of a beat, but not worse than nothing into the 14th, going over 9.5. I want to shift focus here and talk a little football. I know Steve's going to get some actionable from you in baseball. I want to pick your brain on football right now. You're all around Las Vegas, all right? You talk to sportsbook directors all over town. You're someone who has his fingers around the pulse of the industry right now. What are the hot teams in the NFL betting marketplace? What are the cold teams? What are the teams that nobody wants right now? Give me a few NFL thoughts about who's taking money and who isn't in early betting action.
Denver is like everybody's on Denver. And I know it's a last place schedule, and I know they got Russell Wilson, but Denver can't get away from talking about them, hearing about them. It's crazy. I think who in the NFC has been the dominant team? I mean, the favorites, Tampa Bay and Green Bay might as well be already penciled in to play the NFC Championship. I'm amazed at the just kind of push them forward through to all this stuff. Season wins over, automatic win divisions, and different things like that. I think as far as against, who was I talking to the other day? Cincinnati is the pushback. Cincinnati's going to have a real apparent step backwards. I don't know if I agree with that, but they're betting it like I guess Cincinnati's schedule a little bit tougher, obviously, now that they've won the division and have to be, the hunted rather than the hunter. Apparently, a lot of guys are thinking that they're gonna go backwards. Other than that, there hasn't been much like one team push. I think you'll see a lot of things happen here in the next right around the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, that's when we used to really see guys coming into town, or there'll be a lot of people in town for the Wager Talk thing. Like August is when it really starts.
And just real quick, I said yesterday on the opening line report that the Lions are a team that's getting a lot of buzz. They're taking over win money. They're taking to make the playoff money. Have you heard that as well, that the Detroit Lions are hot right now in the markets?
Yeah, and we're not even just pandering to Johnny Detroit with this move here. This is a real thing. I've done it myself. I've cut and caught up. I looked at Detroit's schedule, and Matt and I went over them on Bostonian versus the book. I went over their season wins when we did it, and that was my first look at their schedule. I think they are going to be better, but they are one of those buzz teams within the rhombuses community. Let's put it that way. A lot of parallelograms, a lot of rhombuses like the Detroit Lions. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think their season wins total is a little low, Teddy.
Hey, David, since you mentioned the Bengals, because one of the best angles in all of sports for decades has been that Super Bowl loser does not fare well the following season. It's almost 50-50. They make the postseason, but to take it even further, you got to go back 30 years to the early 90s when the Bills lost and still made it back, because only one other team has done in the last 30 years, and that was the Patriots in 2018. And obviously, that's not your typical Super Bowl loser. That's a team that had multiple championships. So, the Bengals are a textbook example of a team like the Jags, who lost the AFC title game a few years ago and been god-awful ever since. Young team, outperformed. I'd be very cautious with the Bengals. I think there's some talent there, but boy, if there's ever a team you could see regressing this year, it would be Cincinnati. So I think that's an interesting take there. Hey, look, I thought it was interesting. Tokyo Brandon said Japanese baseball games averaging like less than 6 runs a game. I was shocked to hear that. I mean, that's pretty damn boring baseball right there. And you would have thought, the minor leagues usually see more hitting than pitching. It's the other way around. But it made me think of softball. I know softball could have some pretty pitcher-dominated games as well, as you know, Dave. Yep. But let's transition into MLB with the last couple minutes we have with Dave Sharapan from Las Vegas. Find him on Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159, MLB Network. Follow him at SportsBK Consig at Twitter for all of his other podcasts and adventures. Thoughts on baseball, man? I'll give you an open-ended question. We talked about the Dodgers underperforming. Awful injury for Machado. I mean, basically stepping on first base. I was watching that live when it happened the other day. Hate to see that. He had the highest wins above replacement in baseball this year. Was third in the MVP odds heading into that injury. So tough blow there. NL West, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, San Diego is challenging to win that division, let alone be one of the best teams in the National League. Interesting stretch for them right now without him. And I don't know how much that gets priced into the daily. Like, I probably weigh it a little bit more than a lot of guys did. They just put up a number, just take bets. But we'll see in the next 10 to 15 days while he's out. Hopefully San Diego can hang. The story about baseball is the Yankees. I mean, every single day the Yankees win. And pricing the Yankees has just become a challenge for books because, like, this is that time of year where I used to go into work and be like, all right, I'd come in either open or right after and be like, all right, who do we need today? And it's the same teams every day. You need Oakland. You need Kansas City. You need the Cubs. Baseball betting is pretty easy right now for a lot of people. You bet the good teams and they win. You even lay the run line and they win. Esther Cortez is pitching against Beeks today. Not minus 160 something on the road against a team in Tampa who's one of the best teams in the American League. And it just doesn't matter. The Yankees win. I would say that Tampa's going to be a play. The total in the game yesterday was 6.5 with Cole and McClanahan and went under. 4-2 final. Total 7 today. Probably another under, just looking at it at first glance. There's a couple games that nobody's looking at today. Washington and Baltimore. Got to play the Orioles. No one's going to even probably bet that game. Those are my favorite games a lot of times. It's harder to pick the winners when there's two really good teams or a good pitcher against a pitcher you don't know. A lot of times these bad team games provide value. So there, I think it's Baltimore. The other one, Cubs-Pirates. As good as the Pirates played yesterday, they won again on Sunday, so 2 in a row. Are they going to get 3 in a row? Well, the market has them priced at an absurd. I mean, 150, 155. Expect the bad guys to come in and correct that. They're going to play the Cubs. And again, you're a buyer beware when you buy a ticket on the Cubs. But the price tells you. A lot of times all these things are price moves. They're not betting on the team. Just taking the value. Anything plus 140 against the Pirates doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud, but that'll be another play.
Dave Sharapan, softball and baseball expert, joining us every Tuesday here on Wager Talk Today. And find him. Hey, look, you're on MLB Network. I can call you a baseball expert, and I know you're a softball expert.
Hey, there's a lot of people on MLB Network with a lot of titles. I don't need the titles. I just need to, have an opportunity to talk about the stuff on the shows. And, we all are just trying to find winners and just keep calling. That's where I'm at. It's at Sports BK Consig. You guys got my number. You can call me anytime. Let's have lunch.
Hey, David, next time you're on MLB Network, if you can work in the term ham fighters, you'll be my all-time favorite. And I'll
send
take
me
a close
text. I'll tell you, what is it? Ham fighters?
Nippon ham fighters. Nippon ham. But then it's fighters they add to it. It's a great nickname. It's no Swallows, but yeah. So this is no ham fighters, but this team's playing well still. Flex Tuesday, Dave. Real quick on the way out, give us a flex. Prez can't live with that one. No.
Let's go.
There you go. Widescreen.
Oh, no drama on Tuesday.
Flex Tuesday. No drama. He took a little Dramamine. He had a nice flight out to Vegas, and he's ready to roll in the World Series of Poker. Dave Sharapan, Las Vegas Strip. Follow him on Twitter. Great sportsbook follow on Twitter at SportsBK Consig. And also Sports Grid Radio and TV, Channel 159, Sirius XM. And don't forget MLB Network on occasion as well. Thanks, Dave. Great to see you. Teddy, great to see you, my man. I'll be back later this week. I get a little Rob Vino and you hosting tomorrow on Wednesday. Great show as always. A lot of baseball today. Don't forget $2 Tuesday from Adam Trigger at WagerTalk.com. $5 Tuesday, which is even better. 3 plays for $5 at SportsMemo.com. Teddy's on a monster run up over, 160% since February now, Teddy? Or am I shorting you? Is it 260? I can't keep track. You're so red hot. Teddy's got a West Coast game over at WagerTalk.com. I've got a strong MLB best bet tonight as well, Steve Merrill. Thank you again to Dave Sharapan, Tokyo, Brandon, and Adam. Teddy, I'll see you in a couple of days. Take us home.
Sure. Enjoy the games and good luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel, right here on Wager Talk Today.
Want a free PlayStation? Yes, free. Who would have thought in November 2020, when Sony released that PlayStation 5, that we'd be sitting here almost 20 months later with no consoles on shelves and very few available with online retailers? Well, we got our hands on a disc console, but instead of teaching Prez and Teddy how to play NBA 2K, we'd like to send it to a loyal WagerTalk supporter. You can start earning entries now and repeat daily just by going to wt.buzz/PS5 and perform the social media task below to earn entries into our raffle. The contest will end at midnight on July 3rd, and a random winner will be announced on July 4th. Help us reach 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and grow our social media footprint, and you could be the new owner